welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I make videos all about fashion and beauty and pharmacy. So in this video, I'm going to share some tips on how to select an APPE rotation if you're in pharmacy school. So if you're interested in watching that, keep on watching. Okay, y'all, so if you're watching this video, I'm assuming that you are either a second or third year pharmacy student getting ready to pick your APPE rotation, so your advanced experientials. And you probably already know what APPE rotations are. They're the clinical rotations that you do your fourth year of pharmacy school or your last year of pharmacy school in the pharmacy curriculum. So I have some tips here and I wrote them down because I didn't want to forget anything. But if you are new here, I'm Sha-Phawn. Some people call me Dr. Sha-Phawn, and I am a clinical assistant professor at a pharmacy school, and I'm also a clinical pharmacist, and my specialty is ambulatory care, and I love managing chronic conditions in the ambulatory care setting in general internal medicine. Okay, now that we got that out the way, so starting off with picking a rotation. So one thing I would recommend is attending your school's rotation showcase, or whatever the event is called, when you go and ask the preceptors questions about their different rotations. That way you kind of know what the rotations are like and some of the benefits of attending those rotations. For example, you'll learn about the daily workflow. Basically, will you be going to a clinic or whatever site from 8 to 3 or 9 to 5? Is it a remote or rotation, things like that. And this information will be listed in basically the registry of rotations or the rotation options and whatever like electronic platform y'all utilize at your school. But it's always nice just to see people face to face and ask them more questions, because on the paper it could say from 8 to 4, but then if you meet someone, they'll say, oh, you know, come 8 to 3, and then from 3 to 4 is dedicated time for something else. If they just have like more information that they can give you when you see them in person. So the next tip is in regards to your community pharmacy rotation. I highly recommend selecting a type of community pharmacy that's different from the community pharmacy you may have experienced in the past. So if you currently are a pharmacy intern at a chain, like a big chain pharmacy such as Walgreens or CVS, I recommend selecting a rotation at an independent pharmacy. And that way you can see the differences in responsibilities or the atmosphere of working in a independent pharmacy compared to working at a big box chain pharmacy such as CVS or Walgreens, and vice versa. If you only had experience at an independent pharmacy, I recommend selecting rotation at the big box pharmacies, so that way you can get the experience of both. Now, if you never had a rotation in a community pharmacy at all, just make sure you select the community pharmacy so you can have that experience. So the next tip is regarding your ambulatory care rotation. So during your APPE years, you typically have rotations that you are required to do. It's a community rotation, a hospital rotation, and then your ambulatory care rotation. So your ambulatory care rotations can vary in job responsibilities depending on where you go. So I highly recommend inquiring about the rotation, asking the different responsibilities. For instance, questions that I would ask would be, do you have prescriptive authority as a pharmacist in your clinic? Or are you actually in a clinic, or are you in a pharmacy that is attached to the clinic? Another question you can ask is, how do you collaborate with the other healthcare professionals on your team? And the responses can be different from each preceptor. And then based off of those responses, you will get a feel of how your experience will be at that site for your ambulatory care rotation. So some rotations for ambulatory care, there may be a pharmacy that's attached to a clinic, and you may spend some time in the dispensing component where you'll be in the pharmacy dispensing. But then there may be some other rotations, which I have been a preceptor for, where there's no pharmacy component, and so you're in clinic the entire time and you don't dispense. So it just depends the type of experience that you want out of your ambulatory care rotation, and also the type of ambulatory care rotations that are offered to you. Some may even be like in a federally qualified health center, or some may be attached to a hospital or a health system. So it just depends on where that ambulatory care rotation is, the setting, the different roles, and based off of the setting and the different roles, it may be a rotation that you feel may benefit you in trying to figure out what interest you have in pharmacy. So I highly recommend asking the preceptors questions about their specific roles in the ambulatory care setting. Okay, so my next tip, if possible, obtain a pharmaceutical industry APPE rotation. In this way, you'll have 4 to 6 weeks of exploring the pharmaceutical industry and the different types of roles that pharmacists play in the industry. So if you have that opportunity, I highly recommend taking it. Okay, so my next tip is an important one. So I highly recommend not selecting a rotation because you think it'll be easy, and not shying away from rotations because you think they will be hard. When approaching your rotation selection, I highly recommend going into it thinking about, will I get a great learning experience out of this? Or will the skills I gain from this rotation prepare me for whatever job opportunity or post-training opportunities I want to pursue after pharmacy school? In this way, you're setting yourself up to have great experiences and not just going on a rotation because you think it'll be easy, or not shying away from a rotation because you think it'll be hard. And unfortunately, you may shy away from a rotation that would have given you a great experience, a great learning experience, which could have helped you prepare for the NAPLEX, and possibly been an opportunity for you to have a job opportunity or prepare you for a postgraduate opportunity. So I highly recommend going into those rotation selections as in, I'm selecting something because I think it'll give me a great opportunity to learn. Okay, so those are some of my tips for picking an APPE rotation. If there are any other preceptors out there or any recent graduates that have tips for pharmacy students when starting their rotations, put them down in the comments below. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed. And if you are subscribed, thanks girl, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace and love.